It's time now for the big story, and this morning on a media round, GB News star and Honorary President of Reform UK, Nigel Farage, said there's a growing number of young people in the UK who do not subscribe to British values, specifically citing Muslims. Take a listen.
We have a growing number of young people in this country who do not subscribe to British values, in fact, loathe much of what we stand for. So what do you do?
Who are we talking about there?
Oh, I think we see them on the streets of London every Saturday.
What do they look like? Oh, we're talking about...
What do they look like?
Are we talking about Muslims here?
We are. And I'm afraid I found some of the recent surveys saying that 46% of British Muslims support Hamas. I am not here to attack the religion of Islam, but I am here...
Well, you've just been doing it for 3 minutes.
No, I haven't. I'm telling you the alarming figures that have been coming out of these recent polls, particularly in the wake of what has happened on October the 7th and in Gaza, and we have a real problem here.
So were these remarks Islamophobic, or is Nigel Farage right to point out that a portion of the Muslim population in the UK does not subscribe to the values of this country? Let me know your thoughts, gbnews.com/your say. But to discuss this, I'm delighted to welcome Dr. Sheikh Ramsey, who is an imam and director of the Oxford Islamic Information Centre. A privilege to have you with us, Dr. Ramsey. Thank you so much for appearing on Mark Dolan tonight. First of all, your reaction to Mr. Farage's comments, are they Islamophobic?
What I would like to say, of course, on the general, as what he was saying, it started the interview started badly, gone worse, and of course end disaster. And it all was about hatred of the Muslim and Islamophobia. He shows truly the person who is Islamophobic. Of course, I've been interviewed with Nigel Farage many times. I didn't see that, but of course, I can say, yes, it is Islamophobic. He gone too far to show the hatred for the Muslim and, of course, degrade the Muslim. Unfortunately, degrade the Muslim. He said they are uneducated. They cannot speak English. They are Hamas supporter, which is called this country called terrorist. Hamas supporters, the demonstration which he does is wrong, and many things which he said, of course, it was completely untrue, and it is not good for the integration of the Muslim to the communities and of course Muslim community. And he said about the British value. The British value, the Muslim all have a British value. Maybe one or two here, handful, they haven't got. However, they in the school we teach him the British value. In the university we teach him British value. Even if the Tesco they go in, they see the British value. Unfortunately, one of the things which I have in the British value, 5 things which we have, my dear, is a mutual respect. Is one of the British values, a mutual respect and tolerance of those of different faith and belief.
Now, Dr. Ramsey, you've used Dr. Ramsey, you've used very long, strong language about Nigel Farage. You've said hatred. He's expressing a view that a growing number of Muslim Brits are not demonstrating British values. Now, Dr. Ramsey, let me ask you, for example, what about those pro-Palestine marches every weekend? As a result of which many Jewish people are afraid to leave the house. You've got Jewish individuals not wearing religious clothing for fear of attack. You've got people chanting for Intifada, which means suicide bombers on public transport. From the river to the sea, projected on the House of Commons. Surely that doesn't represent British values, Dr. Ramsey?
What we have to say, of course, they are doing, the police is in charge there, of course, is a great value we have for our police, Metropolitan, which are in charge, and they see if anything gone wrong, they get the people. However, they are is a democratic, full democratic country in the world. The first democratic country in the world is the United Kingdom, and they are using their democratic right to do it. Of course, come on, you find the 1 or 2 people which they're doing wrong.
Dr. Ramsey, is it more than 1 or 2 people shouting from the river to the sea, calling for a global intifada for the destruction of Israel? It's more than a few people, isn't it, Dr. Ramsey? Do you condemn them?
Anyone which they want, of course, the Israel always said Israel and Palestine should be 2 states living together in peace and the brotherhood. It is not it's very, very important. And of course, we got some, they say these, for example, MPs, which they said, for example, from the river to the sea, it is not anti-Semitic. Unfortunately, they showed, of course, it was Dominic Grieve, which he says is the head, of course. And what is happening is Muslim and Jewish, it is not about the Muslim and about the Jews. They are brothers. They know we are interfaith. I'm head of the interfaith. Every day we see the Jews and we say, shalom, shalom alaikum, salam, hello, everything. But it is about the government of the Israel with the head of the Netanyahu, which goes against but the people of the world, all the people of the world going against, for example, against the atrocity. For example, you see the Spain and the Ireland and other one. Are they all terrorists? They say, stop the war, stop the war. Are they all terrorists? We can say, oh, well, he is terrorists. No, they are not. They are human rights. They want to do the human right. They want to do the ceasefire. And by the grace of God, ceasefire soon coming. And I'm sure this country, United Kingdom, can lead in this one and save many
Dr. Ramsey, absolutely. Listen, we were in touch earlier in the day with a man that was very briefly the government's anti-Muslim hatred czar, appointed by Michael Gove, Fiaz Mughal. And he's not been able to join us on the programme, but he's given us this statement. He said, I think that Nigel Farage has stated something that is fact. That a small but intransigent number of my co-religionists fail to fully understand and accept some core values of our country. However, are they growing in number? No, they are not. This is where I would disagree. But there you go. That's Fiaz Mughal, who disagrees with what you've got to say there.
He's very good. With respect to Fiaz Mughal, is a very, very close friend of mine. We know about each other about 20 years, but he is wrong. Because majority of the Muslim in this country, they are taxpayer, they are good people. They are, listen, there are 4 million people. They are working as a started a dustman to the shadow ministers in the parliament, to the doctor, to the universities. All they contribute, and we can't just crash them. How much we have to take? Just please say we want to integrate, we want to have a cohesion, we want to have a brotherhood, and please be with us. And of course, again, I said the culture is respected, the faith, all faith respected, all culture respected.
Well, Dr. Ramsey, you're so right. That is a message around which we can unite to come together. Let's get reaction, if we can, Dr. Ramsey, from my pundits this evening. We have Neil Parish, Linda Jubilee and Nigel Nelson. Neil Parish, your reaction to what Nigel Farage had to say today on television?
I think Nigel went plenty far enough, because I think once you start talking about, 46% of young British Muslims, disagree with perhaps our British values, I'm not sure how you can possibly justify that figure. And I also think that we do have to bring everybody together. Now, I very much, detest the idea of wiping Israel off the map, is what really basically some Muslims are chanting. But I think the trouble is with these comments, and perhaps some of them need to be made, but I think making them in the way he did, I do actually think inflames the situation, because we are very much a multicultural country. I think our British Muslims actually make a good contribution to our culture overall, and so I think, let's not split ourselves asunder. Now, I very much support the state of Israel, and I very support the Jewish community, but I think let's be careful how we deal with the situation, because we do want to bring everybody together. While this war goes on in Gaza, while Israel keeps pounding Gaza all the time, there is going to be a lot of, Muslims are going to feel very enraged by it. Now, it doesn't justify what they're doing, but let's be balanced about it.
My friend. God bless you.
Nigel Nelson, a poll from 20th of February earlier this year, and it was an ICM poll of British Muslims published in the Sunday Telegraph, found that 40% of British Muslims wanted Sharia law in predominantly Muslim areas in the United Kingdom. Does that bear out some of what Nigel Farage has had to say?
Well, yes and no. I mean, this poll that Nigel Farage was referring to was done by the Henry Jackson Society and came up with a similar kind of figure on that. And there are some results there which are disturbing. That moderate interfaith groups like Tel Mama are worried about those kind of results. But the central issue there, the poll never asked Muslims whether or not they supported British values. That question never turned up.
It's important to point out, Nigel, isn't it, that they were offered a choice of supporting Israel or Hamas. So therefore, it was sort of a multiple choice poll rather than proactively supporting Hamas.
Palestine, you're supporting Israel and Hamas. That's wrong. You could say supporting Israel or Palestine, or supporting Netanyahu or
I think
Hamas.
You're right. Dr. Ramsey, you're right.
Yeah.
Dr. Ramsey, can I ask you another question before I come to Linda? Yes. What about the school teacher in Batley who showed his students images of the Prophet Muhammad as part of a class, a lesson in regards to media studies, who is now still on the run? That doesn't represent British values, does it?
These are not a matter of the religion. This is a matter of the religion, and of course the scholar of the Islamic scholar thing is nothing to do with the British value.
But that man is on the run, Dr. Ramsey. That man is on the run because there is a mob who could hurt him if they find him.
I'm not part of the law, but what I'm saying, if he says offensive, of course. If you show to me, listen to me, if you show to me an offensive from the Prophet, I say, God bless you and may God guide you. But some people does not. They say, oh, that was a total wrong, and get the law to their hands.
Dr. Ramsey, those people, would you agree that those people do not have British values, the people who are threatening the safety of a school teacher?
It has nothing to do with the British value. There is something which happened. For example, if somebody offended my mother, I'm saying you are that and you are that, and after that you say is a British value. Of course, you offended my mother. I say you offend my mother, but don't offend my Prophet.
Dr. Ramsey, I would never offend your mother. I'm sure she's quite a lovely lady.
God bless you. God bless you.
Well, she made you, so she did something right. Linda, a couple of seconds. I'm so sorry, the clock's against us. Your reaction to all of this? Can you unpick it for us?
I think Fiaz Miguel is absolutely right. There's a small but intransigent section here that we should be worried about, but I don't believe that the broad sweep of British Muslims are a problem. I can tell you that I have worked with Afghans, for example, since the fall of Kabul. I'm helping them with their communication strategy right now. I walk into that office and there, on the side of the wall, are the 5 British values in a frame that we walk past every time we go into the building. I don't think you'd see that in most offices in this country. Where Nigel Farage is correct, absolutely correct, is when he pointed out that there were pockets in this country where people speak no English. Now, that might seem like a cosmetic thing, but it is not. It is the number one concern when it comes to integrating people into UK society, and we're not really tackling it.
Absolutely.
Can I say
a couple of seconds, Dr. Ramsey.
Each Muslim, at least they speak 2 languages. You have to remember, and this is an asset of the countries. And perhaps if they did not talk to the Nigel Farage, they will talk to me, and I assure you they are. Some time ago, 10, 15 years ago, let me tell you, 15 years ago, I was in LBC with the Nigel Farage. The David Cameron wanted to give 20 million to educate, and he said, no. I said, let's learn, let's them get English. He was the person that she said, no, don't spend the money.
And
he's a good man. Nigel Farage is a good man. I'm not saying he's bad. He's a good man, but wrong ideas.
There you go, Dr. Ramsey. Let me tell you that there are plenty of Brits living in Spain who don't speak Spanish. So, Dr. Sheikh Ramsey, thank you so much for joining us. Imam and Director of the Oxford Islamic Information Centre. Catch up again in the near future. Thank you for the blessing, Dr. Ramsey, and what a fascinating conversation
Good people of God you are.
Oh my God.